Sorry, and I just realized in your sex offender assessment that you do identify as female, correct?
We are in the state of Utah. Who would have thought? Now, I'd be pretty scared if I was this parole board interviewer because he has on his conviction threatening to cut off a judge's head. Not just any judge, but it was actually a judge and a member on the board of paroles. So he's got a record that dates back over a decade, and this sexual offense is just one of the many crimes uh, in his jacket. I'll unpack it with those details at the end.
Can you tell me what led to your offense? That
Um,
one specifically?
that one specifically, I was having inappropriate conversations with a minor.
Okay. What led to the inappropriate conversations?
I don't know. I was reached out to, and then I just proceeded with it.
Okay. Has anything like this happened before?
No.
Okay. So tell me what you learned in sex offender programming that's going to help so that something like that doesn't happen in the future.
Well, I've gained a lot of positive tools,
Okay.
such as positive coping skills and coping strategies.
Can you give me some examples?
The coping skills, as far as like managing anxiety, fear, giving reflectively listen, giving feedback, and managing anger.
Okay.
That was a biggie.
Okay.
Um, I also applied these principles to not only that crime, but to the crimes that I am here for.
And that's what I wanted to ask too, specifically when it comes to the aggravated stuff, the assaults. Tell me what you've learned while you've been here that's going to help you manage that so these don't happen either.
Well, I've developed a lot of core beliefs about maintaining my dignity and respect towards others and creating boundaries, appropriate boundaries, not only to that offense, but to the other one as well. And I mean, I think that's a huge part because I had the lack of boundaries and the lack of respect.
Okay. Where do you think the anger stems from?
Past trauma?
Okay. Like childhood trauma stuff?
Yes.
Okay. What have you done to address that?
I've done a lot of therapy. I've addressed these issues and I've since resolved a lot of them because they stem from a sibling in specific, and we've developed a very positive relationship now.
Okay. Moving forward, how do you plan on continuing to address that stuff?
Well, I'm going to be planning on maintaining treatment as that's a key element in progressing with my life, not only with mental health, but with drug treatment as well.
Okay.
I think that has been a little overlooked, but it has been addressed in SOTP, and there's about 8 weeks of, or yeah, 8 weeks of just addressing that issue itself. And I feel that on the outs, that would be a key element as well to maintaining my progress.
How much of your substance use contributes to the charges that you're here for?
A lot.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't have had the arguments that I had it not been for my drug use.
Okay. What's your drug of choice?
Methamphetamines,
Okay. How long were you using that for?
4 years.
During that 4 years, was there a period of time where you were sober?
Yes.
What's the longest time you were sober for during that time?
About 6 months.
Okay.
But do note that I had an original addiction to alcohol up until 22, and I remained sober from 22 until 27.
What caused the alcohol addiction?
The availability was a big part.
Okay.
Um, it was socially accepted,
Okay.
and it was just around me a lot.
So do you feel like you kind of just traded the alcohol for the methamphetamine at some point?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, if there's restitution owing in your case, are you willing to pay that?
It is already paid.
Sorry, and I just realized in your sex offender assessment that you do identify as female, correct?
That was to not be addressed this time.
Well, how would you like me to refer to you as?
Sure.
She, her?
Sure, right now.
I mean, that's really just up to you.
It's just, I didn't want to bring it up because of the
That's
family
fine.
aspect.
That's fine. Sir, if your victims, what would you say to your victims at this point?
I can only say sorry. I can't express that enough.
Okay.
I can say that the only thing I can control is changing myself. I can't change the past, but I can definitely forge the future.
Okay.
And this is something that I really regret. And I really just feel awful about.
What would you tell them to convince them that you're okay to be paroled if the board chooses to do so?
I'm sorry for wasting so much of the years and the damage that I've caused, not only to my victim, but to the family, the kids. I will leave that behind me and I will move on my own direction.
Okay. Do you feel like there's anything moving forward that would prevent you from being able to complete a successful parole?
No, I think that as long as I stick to my plan and stick to treatment, there should be no fault.
Okay. So in looking at these programs, the only ones that I currently show as being completed are your anger management and the sex offender programming stuff. Are there other things that you have completed while you've been here?
Domestic violence?
Okay. Did you do that on the tablet?
No.
Okay.
It was a class done by Dr. Shumway
Okay.
before he left. So
Do you know about how long ago that was?
that was when I first got here into this prison, just right before my first original hearing.
Okay. And I do show that you don't have any disciplinaries. Is that still accurate?
Correct.
Okay. What do you feel like for you overall has changed since being here in hopes that you don't end up back here?
Well, I took the treatment very serious,
Okay.
and I've applied the principles that I've gained in that treatment, and I've really reflected upon myself, who I was and who I want to be,
Okay.
and that has changed dramatically.
Sir, if you are paroled, what is that going to look like for you? Where do you plan on living?
Well, I have an option to go live with my dad upon conditions, but I would like to personally go to a halfway house such as Bonneville, seeing how I still have employment, an offer for employment in the Salt Lake Valley. That would be best.
Okay.
But not only that, but they offer structure
Okay.
and they offer treatment and they offer a lot of things that I could possibly use my advantage.
Okay. What job do you have lined up?
7-Eleven.
Okay. And there is a possibility that there will be a no contact order between you and the victims in your cases until potentially therapeutically recommended through treatment and things like that. Is that something that you are willing to abide by?
Yes.
Do you have any other questions for me or for the board? Is there anything else you feel like the board needs to know or you would like them to know?
I would like to express my gratitude towards not only my family, but to everybody that has helped me develop into the person that I am today. That goes with the institution, that goes with the correctional officers, that goes with everybody that has helped behind the scenes. This has been a positive thing for me in my life.
Okay. Well, what I plan on doing is taking the information we discussed today, compiling that into a report, submitting that to the board. You do have a 15-year top, which puts you January 9th, 2036. That is the length of time the board will have jurisdiction over your case, given there are no other further offenses. Do you have any other questions for me, sir?
I do not.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and conclude this hearing. Good luck to you.
Well, the parole board grant, and you heard 2036 is his EOS, but they grant after 2 years locked up. And look, you might hear that, listen to this hearing and say, well, he seems to have, I don't know what maybe your takeaway was, but for me, I look at the record and no, it's almost year after year after year of violence. This enticing a minor thing was just one extra charge. I don't have any details on that. It sounded like it was something that was going on for maybe years. The way that he spoke about it, I don't know. But let me just share with you. So here it is. In 2015, we have, I don't know, failure to comply. We don't have that. What that means? Sorry, 2013, 2014, failure to comply. 11/5/2014, terroristic threats to a governmental unit, and I think that was when he threatened to cut the judge's head off. We'll read that article soon. 8/15/2017, threats against a judge board member. Actually, no, this is a different. This is the threat against the judge board. So then you have 2019, domestic violence in the presence of a child and aggravated assault. 2019, 6/15, so it's 3 months later, criminal mischief. 5/30/2020, aggravated assault resulting in serious bodily injury. Okay. And violation of a protection order. So my guess is that's the person who he already assaulted in 3/31/2019. Now he violates a protective order and seriously hurts the person. Now, June 2nd, 2021, aggravated assault, deviant presence of a child, criminal mischief, aggravated assault, and again violation of a protection order. And I cannot stand, if you can imagine, you have an aggravated assault with serious bodily injury, a judge gives you a protective order, and you go back and hurt the person again, and you're not in prison for that for a long time? These things drive me nuts because this is how people end up dead. 7/3/2021 charges. It says unknown. I guess that was the charge with, engaging a child on a device, and he did not take responsibility to it. Listen, when you listen to the words that he said, a child reached out to me and I just responded. Oh, so it's the child's fault, right? And then the other statement is the only thing I can control is changing myself. I can't change the past. I can only change the future. It's something I regret and feel awful about. I'm sorry. Then she says, what would you tell them that would convince them that it's okay to be paroled? The victims. We don't even know how many. The words were victims, okay? I'm sorry for wasting so much of the years. So we know this is going on for years, okay? Who knows what this is, but it's going on for years. And the damage that is caused, not only to the victim, but the family and the kids. So again, I don't know, is he talking about all those assault charges and his own kid? I don't know, it's not clear. But then he goes on to say, I will leave that behind me and move on in my direction. Wow, that's so good. You're leaving it behind. I'm sure it's difficult for you to do that. And we have in the charges again, aggravated it in this jacket, it's aggravated assault resulting in bodily injury, 0 to 5 years, aggravated assault, 0 to 5 years, telephone, electronic communication, and harassment. It's just, this is someone who cannot stay out of trouble. This is someone who likes to physically harm others. It's like, don't be fooled by what you're seeing. Look at the actions. The ones who need to need to have, in my opinion, the ones who I have my empathy for are the victims and potential victims. Let's look at the judge thing. So this was written November 6, 2014, 10 years ago. Man arrested for allegedly threatening to cut off a judge's head. Again, I'd be terrified as a parole board member. A man who police say threatened to kill his family and then cut off the head of the Draper judge who was arrested on Wednesday. So he threatened to kill his whole family. This is a man who has physically hurt his family many times already. Joshua Jonathan Weber, 24, was booked into Salt Lake City County Jail for investigation of influence, impeding retaliation against a judge or a member of the Board of Pardons and Parole. According to Salt Lake County Jail report, one of Weber's friends, who was described as a colleague in the Army, contacted police after Weber sent him private Facebook messages that he wanted to kill his own family and cut the heads off of the Draper City judge. The friend took screenshots of the conversation and sent them to the police. So if it's his own friend that's telling on him, that must mean the friend must have believed him. Draper Police Sergeant Chad Carpenter could not confirm Thursday whether Weber actually had any ties to the U.S. Army. Detectives went looking for Weber and spotted him in the passenger seat of a vehicle. They stopped the car near 2000 blah 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 at 8 p.m. Wednesday, according to the report. During subsequent questioning, Weber admitted to sending the message, the report said. Carpenter did not know Thursday if any weapons had been seized or if Weber had any access to weapons, but he said any threats to kill people are taken very seriously by this department. Whether Weber's threats to cut off the head of a judge were credible, Carpenter could not say. Our hopes is that Weber gets help. In October 2013, Weber pled guilty to Draper Justice Court to misdemeanor narcotics possession. According to the court records, he was placed in probation in order to go narcotic tested 1 each month, for court records stated, but a warrant was issued for his arrest last month when he failed to show up for a court hearing. In 2010, Weber was convicted of assault on a police officer and assault on a healthcare provider. Wow, I don't even think those weren't, well, why were those not in his jacket here? I think we missed that, huh? It probably because records only go back 10 years, but I'm not sure. So these are additional, by the way, assaults that we did not just read in that document. He was placed on, maybe because it's misdemeanors. He was placed on probation as part of a sentence ordered to undergo narcotics and mental health treatment. It's, there you have it. A real prince. And let's just hope there are no new victims. But what's the saying? Repeat the same thing, expecting different results. Exactly. And with that, I'll let you go.
What would you tell them to convince them that you're okay to be paroled if the board chooses to do so?
I'm sorry for wasting so much of the years and the damage that I've caused, not only to my victim, but to the family, the kids. I will leave that behind me and I will move on my own direction.